Welcome, people of life, light, and the dark. Today is our continuation on the duality, our current dimension. And basically, I'm showing how through the Bible, we can clearly see how we met our demise. And we can also clearly see how the very same thing that's happening today, the word civilization been thrown around. And how what happened to us as a people when these fictitious people chose to come in, be friendly, take advantage, mix and mate, and conquer ancient lands, then co-op a illusionary world as they continue to do today. Now, there's a program called, I think it's called GIA, something like that. I'm not for sure. But they talk about a lot of unknown things on that program. And right now they have something running called Atlantis, where this Caucasian, because I don't even call them Caucasians anymore, can't call them Europeans, because all of that's a lie. You see what I mean? So basically, just like I always say, everything's an illusion, a big fat lie. So we're going to take a look at some things here. And try to relay it to you as clear as I can and as understanding as it can get for you. So basically, what we know so far is we've looked at the book of Genesis last week, and we saw where there was two different groups of people, just as we thought. We always knew this. Only two different groups of people. There's the people with consciousness and with the ability to actually flourish on this planet. And then there was Adam and Eve, who we were told a big fat lie and said that all humanity came from Adam and Eve, which was a big fat lie. Now we know this to be a lie because we looked at the book on Adam and Eve, and we broke it down to where we know and understand the difference between Vincent 52, between the earlier people created and these people who are under a God that is very controlling, which is probably it's just their way of saying nature. Okay, our nature was loose and free. Their nature was tight, where they were bonded to going against the law of nature. So they tried to bite the apple of good and evil, and they they couldn't get that power from it. They weren't able to get that power. And this is synonymous with what we all know about their pineal glands being calcified versus our pineal gland. We have that capability of actually escaping this dimension, this reality. And we also learned in the book of Genesis about duality. It's a lot of duality in that book. And my conclusion was that, yes, we live on the dimension of of duality. We have male, female, good, evil. It is what it is for us here. So this is our experience. It's not a oneness. Although they want us to think it's a oneness. It's not a oneness here in this dimension. I would even go as far as to say they might just want a oneness, but no, they can never achieve that. That's the highest height of to ascend to. And it just can't be achieved on this dimension. And the reason why I say that is how they tried to make male female and make female male. Plus their the mixing of the people. It's a lot of different things that I see where they're trying to create a oneness amongst people that can exist. Now, one other thing, I'm probably getting a little past Genesis, but I don't want to go too far past Genesis, but we are under the assumption that there were civilizations where people lived in peace amongst each other, the two different people, the two different creations. That would be a yes and a no, because yes, we've always been peaceful and allowed others to come in, but no, it didn't end up being peaceful, as we can see from our predicament our conditions of today as Black people. We've always had an advantage taken over our good nature. So when we look in the Bible, hold on. We already read over all of this and how, we know that we were the first group of people that was described. But one important thing to not miss is how light, the day, was considered the end of the day, the last part of the day. And they called day. And darkness was the eve of the day, which was the beginning of the day. Now we can't let that just go by, because a lot of times we understand why we get mourning, because you're mourning your day that your day is ending. So it would be, Adam and Eve had a problem with light, with the sunlight. That's why when they were in Eden, they were ran out of Eden, especially once they ate the apple and tried to get the knowledge that could not live being within them. They could not grasp. They were run out of Africa because they could not handle the energy force, which they called God at the time. So, actually, go back here. So, let me go to the Genesis here. So basically, we know that that we were here as a group of people on Earth way longer than this new group of people, Adam and Eve, have been here. So we know that that's basically their story. Their lying story starts at the time when they gained their, in a way, I would say, consciousness. Gala. Okay, it's called Gala. Gala, something like that. But they're coining more stories that come from us, stolen legacies. And what we get from the book of Genesis is they are creating a beginning for them and making themselves look like, or trying to get our people to think that we all come from this one place together, which was, it's always been a lie. It's always been a lie. And have a lot of our people, Christians, Islamic, Catholicism is pretty much where it comes from. Because we can see, I want to also share this with you guys too, right here, because I've always known this to be true. Let me share it here. And I'm going to get some more information on it. I've always said this to be true. I just never pulled up the evidence for it. Because, you know, I'm not an evidence person per se, but I know that in your studies, you always got to have something to back up. But I know this from within myself. So I never really had to read it. I didn't have nobody to tell me. But I looked it up and I found that, yeah, we also were the Greeks, okay? You got to recognize that white people, I'm going to say white people, have they have done what I said they had done. It's just that there's so much evidence to what they have done. They have taking us out of the picture with the flood. Okay, with the flood, because we know the flood is a lie. So they had to create this flood to wipe out the people that were on the planet before them, right? So that's what they did. So they created a new world, and that's why they were so much in a hurry to get us all to drink of their juice, their information. Because remember, remember, we, after they conquered other parts of Egypt first, like I would even submit that Greece was a part of Egypt. That I know, because I know they were connected. Hold on a second. I will submit to you that Egypt spread it over farther than we think. They were able to get in through mixing. They worked because we have Greece, we have Spain, we have Italy. All those places were other places before they were given those names. But the Phoenicians, Tyrus, that was definitely the point of where they conquered. And once they conquered that land, it made it easier for them to get to the rest of Egypt. So we're talking 7,000 years ago. 7,000 years ago. Okay. So basically, let me read this about the original. Okay. The earliest inhabitants of Greece and the Aegean Islands were Blacks from ancient Libya, Palestine, and Asia Minor. These Blacks founded Athens, Thebes, Thera, and Attica. They occupied much of the mainland and the Aegean island. And it was said that the Egyptians worked alongside of these other Blacks, other people who were within the Taurus. And around that, it was still a part of the Egyptian Empire. Taurus. Um, Hold on a second. Within the bound. Okay.
And one of the key things.
No, that's talking about that. Okay.
Citizens of Tyre.
So I'm going to share this one. I'm going to share this one about Tyrus. Okay, I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Hold on. Let me read your comment. You said Adam and Eve were both white. Where did black people come from? Okay, no, Vincent 52, you totally misunderstanding what I'm saying. Black people didn't have to come from anywhere, okay? Black people were already here, is what I'm saying. Black people had nothing to do with their story about Adam and Eve. Let me go back. I knew I should have went back and let me go back and read this first and share this first, then I'll come back to that. Let me go back to Genesis and share Genesis first. Because I think it'd be better if I make sure it's clear on what I'm saying when it comes to that. Genesis. Okay. Let me find out where I need to go. See, white people pretty much wrote themselves in the book. See, I might as well start from here. Here's where black people, this is black people right here. I don't want that version. I don't like New International. What happened? Oh my God. I don't want New International. I want to deal with King James. With the Apocrypha. Okay. Okay, so here's the black people. In the beginning, this is a parable now. This is a parable. So it's a lot of nothing to take literal. It's a description. It's a describing a people's consciousness. So it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. So basically, okay, energy from the sun came in. Energy, you cannot see energy, but it can transform to light. So that energy transformed to light, right? In this part. And God saw the light. It was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God didn't say anywhere in here that darkness was bad compared to the light, or light was bad compared to the dark. It doesn't exist like that. They're both the same, one and the same. It's just one you can't see until it hits Earth atmosphere, and then we get light. We start getting the physical manifestation of things. And God called the light day. That's day. That's a whole day. It's over. He called it day. And the darkness he called night. And the evening and morning were the first day. So your evening and your morning, the beginning of your day is night. The end of your day is morning. So it's the day. It's like you had your night and then you see the You see the light, and then you say that's day. Were the first day. Okay, so they both were your first day of the day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And like we always knew, we have water above as well as below. The waters have been divided. Many people say we come from water. The earth used to be nothing but water. But we see here that the waters were divided, was split between. So that gave us dry land, right? Dry land. We have water in the sky, and we have water on the planet in certain places on the land. So waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together until one place, and let the dry appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called the seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb, yielding seeds after his kind. Let me see something. Okay. And the tree yielding fruits, those seeds, was in itself after his kind. And God said that it was good. And the evening and morning were the third day. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons. For these people had all the signs and the seasons, and for days and years. And let them be lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So basically, all we have is the night is actually signifying the energy I'm talking about that we can't see. So he actually gave us, at night, we're getting energy. We're getting that unseen energy. And then during the day, we're able to get that physical light in the day. I think it's quite amazing. I think that's quite amazing. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and morning were the fourth day. God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, cattle and their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw it was good. Okay. Then God said, let us make man in our image. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea. This is consciousness now. Creation manifesting the unknown. This is describing creation coming from the mind, right? So we know that what's in the mind is in the universe, right? So the universe is also doing the work. So, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So he made man. And then we're going to hear that ye are little gods. So who do you think he's speaking to? He's speaking to these particular people that have nothing to do with Adam and Eve. Because right here, it's even telling them they're little gods. It's spreading it out. It's not just using two words to say ye are little gods, 3 words. It's actually describing them as little gods, because he's saying that, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth. So they guardians of the earth, these people, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image, consciousness. In the image of God created he him, male and a female created he them. Duality. A duality experience in the physical realm. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. Give birth to the earth. Continuously bring life. He didn't say death. He said continuously give life. That means these people had the ability for infinity and beyond. And subdue it, and have dominion over the fish in the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So basically, we get the meat of the fruits. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. So green herb is meat. And it was so. Not killing of the animals and eating them. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And The evening and the morning were the sixth day. Okay. So this is that's the black folks. That's us. That's us, family. And of course we know Adam and Eve. Hold on, let me see if I can get Adam and Eve here. Let me see if I can go back to getting Adam and Eve. I think I read it last week. But we're not of their genealogy. Because you notice with Adam and Eve, they end up having murder. They have a lot of things. And okay, I found Adam and Eve. Let me see. That's Genesis chapter 2 is Adam and Eve. Let me go back and see if they let me do this. Okay. Oh, I don't want to go. Okay, chapter 2. They're trying to give me the new international version. I want King James. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Now, this is Genesis chapter 2 when they talk about the creation of Adam and Eve. Okay. Now, we know that the first group of the people was our consciousness, and we were given domain over the earth. We know this naturally because it's put within us to know that we are the ones who were guardians of the planet. Okay. Thus the heavens and earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created, and the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth. There was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, because he saw now this is a different type of consciousness. Now we know that our minds are a whole different thing from the white man's mind. The white man's mind, he is stuck onto this earth. So it's no wonder that they would put in here that he was made from the dust of the ground. That's saying that he has a connection, a bondage to the ground. He has to have oxygen, right? And breathe into his nostrils the breath of life. Now, And a man, we know that in science that the planet hasn't always been um, H2O, oxygen. Well, that's water, right? It hasn't always been certain percentage of. I did a video on this before with the oxygen because I wanted to show that we've been here a long time and our air quality has changed, and I cannot remember, but it was a chemical breakdown of our air quality because it's something in the air that was put in the air that we don't necessarily need, but it was put in the air for these particular people, the Adam and Eve people, the people that are we're going to see derived from Adam and Eve, which is the white man. But we're also going to see down the line where they tried to fit themselves in as this genealogy here. And it's all lies, because what they did was they took documents, right? They took real people, real groups of people, and they wrote themselves in as the people. That's why we get today Jews, white Jews. Also, that's where we get today them accepting the Ethiopians, which they're accepting the wrong Ethiopians because they're talking about it's the Sudanese. They're accepting the new group of Ethiopians in. Of course, they'll accept them in because they're a mixed group of people in Africa. So they accept them in as Jews in this fake place, 1948 birth as Israel. So we're going to see that all this story leads up to them being able to do this. And it starts here in Adam and Eve. And these things didn't ever exist. It was just, they had to get us to buy into this lie. They had to get us to believe in a God over ourselves. They were always able to infiltrate our civilizations and be like they are being today. I mean, not the racist part of them. I'm talking about being like they are today, like they're normal, like they're agreeing with us on a humanity level, being humans, that they're our friends, that they possibly can be family. You know, when they mixing up the races, that makes us even more vulnerable. And this has been going on for a long time, centuries. You know? So this is how we are always been brought down. By the goodness of our hearts, allowing others in. And I'm about to show you how the Greeks were Black. Not only the Greeks were Black, but we know Europe was Black. So that's why I say we can't call them Europeans. Although it's been a lie that's been carried over for a long, long, long time. A lie that we've been aware of. Because we know about Queen Europa and King James. And all these lands were Black people first. We never needed a creation story. We had high science. And they turned us against our own people that had held us high science about us. And they called it paganism. They went around calling it paganism, robbing us of our culture, integrating with us, rape, pillaging, and destroying Black man and Black woman on the planet for centuries now. Through a book that causes confusion and can cause you to think that all humanity arises from one place. But this is not arising. This is actually descending. Because as we go through the book, the whole book, you start seeing war, destruction, killing, a lot of wickedness, a lot of evilness happening. And it's not, and a lot of lies. Because what they did was they took the gods of these people, turned it around, said they pagan, but we good. Then they had you turn against the people that had your high science to your existence, so that you would never know that you have a connection. And today, nothing has changed. The same thing is going on. And it's 2020, and it's amazing. The same thing is going on. So let's look at, now we can, let me see if he has. Did I answer your question, Vincent? Did that help? Vincent, was that a little bit clearer for you? Yeah, CO2, oxygen, you're right. But it's something else added in or taken out quite naturally, since we did pull away from the sun. And I'm thinking all this is chemical, all of this has a lot to do with this planet we live on and the changes that it goes through interacting with the other bodies out there. Yes, President George Jefferson, winters are barely cold. You're right about that. Yeah, and but here, let me go on ahead and look at this. Let's look at this. Where is it at? Because, like I said in the past, they turned our planet upside down. South is up. South means up. North means down. So it's a lot of confusions that I'm going to let you listen to Sarasati a little bit, and then I might even let you listen to Merkaba. It depends. He's talking. I might let you listen to Merkaba today too, because I need their input on this. Okay, there some more evidence that they did research on. But the original, right here, everybody was Black on this planet. This was a Black planet. And it tells us about the consciousness of Adam and Eve. Now, that's them. That's a dead ringer for them. That's what I'm going to say. Because their mentality likes to take things and stick things in a box and prison things like animals. You don't worship an animal by keeping it in your house. You don't worship an animal by keeping it in a cage. You don't worship an animal by, you don't take care of an animal. You don't love an animal by keeping it in your grasp. An animal is is something that is supposed to be running free on the planet. And they should be able to know how to get their own foods because God, now dogs nowadays, dogs are created by man. We know that for a fact. Most dogs are breeded by man. They come from the wolf, and man has decided to create his own animal, and that's what they did. So we got dogs that are dependent on the human race, and probably a lot more animals they didn't create it out here. But the whole thing about the animals, if you deify an animal and you think they're divine, you love an animal, the last thing you can ever do to an animal is it's torture. It's torture because now dogs are dependent on people. But this is what the white man has done. He went out and made this animal and probably a lot of other animals, so, like the cat, such as the cat. Cats do a little bit better, but they are a burden on humanity in a way. Because as you know, they're always talking about getting them fixed. You see? So where we were people who believed that animals could be free, they can come and go, and we can interact with them. But they have their nature about them that we should not cross those boundaries, certain boundaries. And that in the white man's world that he has created, that those boundaries have always been crossed with the animals. So that's the last I'm going to speak about the animals. I don't hate animals. I just know that in my nature, animals have their place, and I would never take up baby bird in my hands or any kind of other animal and put them in a cage. I see them, and I think they have to learn, they have to live their lives in nature, not in my house in a cage. That's how I feel about it. So let's look at this. It always makes me go back to some other. It's not let me click on this. Okay, here we go. The first ancient Greeks were Black. To deny the African origin of Grecian civilizations, the Eurocentrist attack Martin Bernal's book, Black Athena. This book has nothing to do with Afrocentrism. In the 2 volumes published thus far, Bernal maintains that Semites from Phoenicia and Semitic Hyksos speaking rulers of Egypt took civilization to Greece, not Black Africans. But it was actually us that took civilization. We spread it out. This is why the white man had to do what he did. That's the only. I mean, he just didn't fall upon land that was empty. He just didn't do that. That just didn't happen. J.A. Rogers in Sex and Race, Parker, Diop, and Du Bois, on the other hand, are Afrocentric scholars. These scholars have reviewed the writings of the classical authors, the anthropological, linguistic, and historical evidence to reach the conclusion that the ancient Greeks were Blacks and that European Greeks learned the liberal arts and sciences from their Black ancestors who first settled Greece and the Egyptians. Exactly. According to the Olympian creation myth, the earliest groups to appear on the earth were the Libyco Thracians. The Libyans were Proto-Saharians, as were the original Thracians. Some Thracians were descendants of the Cushites, and Egyptian troops established at Thrace by Sesostris, Thutmose III, and Ramesses II. When he conquered Asia and Europe, Diop, 1991, Winters, 1983A, 1984. This is his research information. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. This is helpful. Okay, hold on. Okay. Many of the so-called Greek myths are in reality historical texts which show the ancient lifestyle of the pre-Aryans in Greece and the transition from Pelagian matriarchy to Greek Aryan patriarchy. The term Amazon was often used by the Aryans to denote matriarchal societies living on the Black Sea. The battle between Theseus and the Amazons, led by Queen Melanippe, records the conflicts between the ancient Aryan Greeks and the Libyans settled around the Black Sea. Dr. Lefkowitz and Snowden perpetuate the myth that the only Blacks in ancient Europe were slaves or mercenaries. This is false. The Greek historical works make it clear that many ancient settlers of Aegean came from Africa, especially the Karamats and the Peloponnesians. G.W. Parker wrote that I need not go into details concerning the ethical relations of the Romans, since they too are Mediterranean and are closely related to the same African confederation of races situated in Greece. Aeneas, their mythical founder of Troy, the Aeneid, like the Iliad and the Odyssey, and all other world's great epics, is the poetic story dealing with African people. The heroes of these tales used long shields. The characteristic shields of Indo-European speaking Greeks were round. The Eurocentrists attempt to prove there was considerable cultural and linguistic continuity from the 12th century of the 8th century BC in the Aegean, yet there is no way it can be proven that Indo-European Greeks have always been in Greece. This view on continuity between the linear B Greeks and the latter Greeks held by Folkwitz is disputed by Hopper, who noted that after all, so much which characterizes Minoan Crete seems wholly, well, they got ancient stories too. They got stories of these people, of the Black people who had to run underground during the war because they were captured and had to end up fighting. They would put them in the where they had to fight against lions and other big animals and stuff like that in Greece. When they did get caught, because they were pretty much just they conquered Greece. These white people did. Let's say white people. After all, so much which characterizes Minoan Crete seems wholly alien to later Greece, despite the efforts of the scholars to detect continuity. That's why I say everything's an illusion. They lie so much. Given the wealth of Afrocentric literature, it would seem logical that the Eurocentric resistors review these works and point out the weakness within these texts to prove that Afrocentrism is the myth. But instead of doing just this, the resistors simply mention texts written by Afrocentric scholars and then attack Black Athena as if Afrocentrism is based solely on this text. And he's proven that, he's saying that Black Athena does not prove Afrocentrism. It's talking about a whole different thing. Dr. Molifa Kite Asante has observed that the aim is to open Afrocentric field of inquiry and to expand human dialogue around questions of social, economic, historical, and cultural concern. Everything must be run through the sieve of doubt until one hits the bedrock of truth. See, I guarantee you they did the same thing that they did to all the other people they ran upon. And that's what the story of the Israelites is about. It's about them running to different countries, different people, conquering them, shaming them for worshiping, being pagans, calling them pagans, and taking them over. Just like today, they think about Black people, they thought about Black people then. No different. Everything must be run through the sieve of doubt until one hits the bedrock of truth. Our methods, based on the idea of African centeredness, are meant to establish a clear pattern of discourse that may be followed by others. Based on this definition, Black Athena is not an Afrocentric work. This book is meant to imply that the Hyksos in the Semitic-speaking West Asians developed civilization in Greece, not the Blacks. But we know that it was Black people all over the planet. And that's a fact that they cannot take from us. It's just impossible. One should ask, where does these white people come from? Not Not where does Adam and Eve come from? Because it's this book, because of its lack of African centeredness, fails the test of Afrocentric work. Black Athena is not Afrocentric Bible on Black Egypt. We doubt that Cheek and Diop would even agree with most of the thesis of this book. Trigger observed that although Bernal, has acquired an enthusiastic following among exponents of negritude and occasionally describes some of the Egyptian pharaohs as Black or Nubian, he aligns himself not with Diop, but with more moderate Negro intellectuals who do Egypt as essentially African. Bernal believes that Greeks resulted from a mixture of European and Semitic-speaking Mediterranean people. But no. Mixing, look here, family, mixing was a big thing they used against us. It was huge, and they still do it to this day. Till this day, they're still doing this act of war. In Volume 2 of Black Athena, Bernal outlines his thesis that the Egyptians founded Greek civilization, but these Egyptians are not Blacks. They are Semitic speakers. Bernal makes it clear that he believes that civilization of Aegean was founded by Semitic-speaking Phoenicians. But the Phoenicians were Black people. Phoenician means purple people because of what they dealt with. They dealt with there was this sea animal shell in a shell that secreted purple dye that they handled, and it would get on the skin. So they were called Phoenicians. And the Semitic-speaking Hyksos dynasty of Egypt. Bernal sees Hyksos invaders as Hurrian Semitic Indo-Iranian speakers. As a result, he believes that the Denos and the means of Egyptian founder of Thebes in Greece were the Hyksos. In general, Bernal believes that when the Hyksos were given from Egypt, they settled in the Aegean and developed civilization. But see, they always want to say that a white person founded when there was already Black people, but they think we don't have a brain. They think we're just brainless people. That's how they always thought about us. We're driven, but they project. See, they're the ones that don't have the mind. And I've always known that all my life, but they're the ones. They settled in Aegean, and developed civilization. Bernal's view of the Hyksos as the founders of Grecian civilization has nothing to do with the work of Afrocentric scholars. The problem with Bernal is that he believes that the pre-Hellenists or the Pelasgian people were Indo-European speakers. This view is not held by Afrocentric scholars who recognize that the founders of Athens and Attica were Blacks. Diop and Clyde Ahmad Winters make it clear that Blacks came to Greece in prehistoric times and remarried in Greece in significant numbers until classical times, before the apparent errors in Bernal's Black Athena should not be seen as proving that Afrocentric scholars are wrong. These errors only prove that Bernal has failed to prove that Hyksos founded civilization in Aegean. Anyways, they probably took over from the Hyksos as well, and all these people never existed as white, basically, is what I'm saying. White people just have to they had to stamp themselves somewhere in existence. And that's what they did. They used the Bible to stamp themselves in existence and to have us think that we were in existence with them alongside. But that's a lie. We don't come from that genealogy of Adam and Eve. We're definitely from the genealogy before Adam and Eve ever existed. Now, what they have done is stuck themselves into our identities as usual. This is nothing new under the sun. This is nothing new. Stealing of identity has been happening for centuries upon centuries now. So we know this to be a fact. What do? You keep doing the same thing over and over again religiously, because that's how they are. They're religious, because that's a part of their survival, is to keep us in going around in circles over and over and over again. Because that's how they can exist. That's just their mode of survival, is to keep us in this perpetual hamster wheel and not thinking. Afrocentric scholars are accused of using old and outdated sources. This is true of some Afrocentric scholars who have written books based on secondary sources. Yet those Afrocentric scholars such as Du Bois and Diop, J.A. Rogers, Parker, Winters use up-to-date sources to provide historical facts about the Africans' past, even before Diop used primary sources to illuminate the African past. These Afrocentric scholars of African and American origin, because of their unique character as Black people unaware of their specific original African home, have not been blinded by ethnocentrism to look for the history of Blacks in part of Africa and the world. These scholars have sought to illuminate the African past throughout the world. For example, Parker used anthropological, archaeological, historical, and classical sources to prove that Blacks once lived in the Aegean. Parker used the Greek classics to prove that the Pelasgians were of African origin. But it is so hot. Even in Greece, you have the heat. But the whole thing is, a lot of the buildings and stuff, all the ancient artifacts and stuff, it's a fact that they whited out a lot of that stuff. They tried to make like it came from them. A lot of stuff that was there previous, before they started. They learned how to do them statues from someone. And now that's how they usually do it. They learn things from us, and then they just kill and take over us. And shoot, they're doing it with our music. And we're doing it with everything, all our talents. So there's nothing new under the sun. And this is a long article. It's very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, I'm going to leave a link, make a copy of the link. Okay. Yeah, because that is a long, long article. He said it sure was. We hardly had any snow last winter, and it stayed in the 50s. Yes. I think because we are getting closer, we're closer to the sun now. And that means the light, the sun rays, is going to be more stronger. The energy, we're getting that strong, we get more energy from the sun. But we know that they have deceived us with this book called the Bible. And now let me let you hear what Samra Seti has to say here.
Bones on and shit, and a bone in his damn nose. You understand? Because they have controlled the narrative.
Ooh.
We have been enslaved and kept from our original teachings that our ancestors have written long ago, even in the stone, even in the temples, even in the pyramid. That's our history. You understand what I'm saying? And so today we cannot be complacent. We can't just go to the museum and see that our ancestors' artifacts sitting up in this man's museum and be happy. You understand? We can't be happy just going back on the damn trip. You understand? And be complacent with going back to the homeland, knowing it's still under siege, it's still enslaved, it's still in captivity today. So when we talk about freeing Africa, we free our mind first. That's right. That's right. The first enemy you kill is the enemy that's controlling your mind. That one that's sitting right in the middle of your brain, that's controlling, that's your operating system. We talked about that. The operating system of a computer. You understand what I'm saying? For many of us, it's not black power. For most of us, it's not black power. Damn near for all of us, it's not black power. It's white power. Is your operating system. We got a black power program, but the program is reconfigured to the white power operating system. When you turn on your computer, if it's a Mac, as soon as the computer come on, the operating system will come on. It'll let you know if it's Windows or if it's, that's for a PC. If you got Mac, it could be leopard, it could be, snow leopard, it could be tiger, it could be lion. It's a lot of different operators, but it'll come on and it'll let you know exactly what, and then it'll go to the programs. And all them programs on that computer been configured to work on that operating system. If they not configured to work, it won't work. And if you try to download a program onto that computer and it hasn't been configured to work on that, it'll let you know, can't download, won't work. It'll let you know that. And so today, the operating system for black people is white power. And for us out here that got our books, got our arms, got our shirts and all that, that's courageous. I love you. You're doing the right thing. But we have to continue to move forward and make black power not a program that's configured to operate on white supremacy, but we got to make black power the operating system. Okay? The operating system. And that comes with total control. You understand? That comes with gas. Global African supremacy. How do you bring about gas? TAC. Total African control. Total African control of what? Politics, land, education, spirituality. You understand? Economic common sense to keep that money. I don't give a damn about a dollar. To keep that wealth within the community or your own community. God damn it, for eternity. It should be a sin. It should be against African constitution for African people to ever end up in the fucking predicament that they in today. We got too many fake ass leaders in Africa. I'm just warming up. Too many fake ass leaders in Africa right now today that's selling Africa out. Okay, selling Africa out. You got too many fake ass leaders in this community right over here in North America, down in the Caribbean, down in South America, that's selling the masses out. Them motherfuckers ain't nothing but puppets of these goddamn white people. And so African people gonna have to seize power. They're gonna have to clean the political slate. They're gonna have to move all these Uncle Tom ass niggas out of power. They're gonna have to do that and put in African leaders that love and understand the plight of African people and is ready to go to work, roll up them goddamn sleeves and go to work, because as Africa grow and grow and grow and grow, you hear me?
I think
you
I went too far.
Then,
okay. Here, I'm trying to fix
stopping
it.
This. That.
Okay. Here we go.
Y'all doing a great thing at that. Now, let me go back here. Let me take this out. Let me take this out of here. That don't even need to be in. I'll put that right there. Okay, let me come back in. Now, this is a timeline, and it's a very significant timeline. Okay? As you can see, you got some major. Wait a minute, let me shorten that a little bit more. Let me shorten that. That don't even count. That don't even count. Okay? You're dealing with a timeline. And it's got some very significant individuals on there. As you can see to the right, you see Japheth, you see Ham, you see Shem, you see Cush. These are all biblical characters. As I told you before, they never existed. They just like the saints of Catholicism, where they created these individuals to control the historical narrative of Africa and the world. But within it, they still had to add some truth. They didn't want to, but at that point in time, you wasn't of intellectual prowess to decipher what they was. They wish they wouldn't have never said what they said. Okay? That's why they, a lot of them have went off into the scientific world to even refute the Bible. But before the scientific world, they was right in the book. They was, the Bible was used as history. Bible was used as the basis of science. You see what I'm saying? Only when the Africans, the Moors, and you know what I'm saying, and showed them a little something that they came up out of their slump. Okay? So now if you look at these days, and they, insignificant as they are. Okay, you got Japheth born at 2444 BC. Ham born 2440 BC. You got Shem born 2441 BC. Now these dates is arbitrary. You can go in another Christian dictionary and find whole another dates. You can go in some Jewish encyclopedias and find whole other dates. So right around the same particular time, but just to show you that the dates is really insignificant. That's all. But to use the Bible as a blueprint for a lot of people that's in Christianity, into Islam, into the other books, into Judaism, and so on and so forth. This is a roadmap to help you get up out your madness, because that's what's wrong. You're in a madness right now. You don't know you in one. Okay? Then you got Nashi at the bottom. Nashi, first king of Sumer, which is Mesopotamia, 2520 BC. Now, if you go to the top, okay, if you go to the top, you see the Great Pyramids of Egypt built around 2550 BCE. And that fucking date is arbitrary. The them pyramids is far older than that. Them pyramids can be anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 BC, okay? Or even older. You understand what I'm saying? I done told y'all many, many times before to never let another nigga count your pockets. Because if you let another nigga count your pockets, you gonna always come up short. So we cannot take no chronological information from white people. Plus, they were the last people to come on the goddamn scene anyway, so they wouldn't know no goddamn way how old these pyramids is. They shortened all of the African history so that it was fit inside of the storyline of the Bible. That's what they did. And that's what I mean by controlling the narrative. But many people out here teach that Mesopotamia is older than Africa, is older than Egypt, which is, I don't know if that motherfucker is insane, didn't take their medicine this goddamn morning, I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? But nobody in their logical mind who got the smallest amount of scientific know-how and research could be that goddamn stupid to believe something like that. If you look at Ur-Nine-Sheep, the first king of Sumer, which is Mesopotamia, okay? Now, that is the land of our people, but it's the outskirts of civilization, okay? That wasn't the heart of the Kushite civilization. That was a colony of Kush, okay? It was a colony of Kush that was overrun, you know what I'm saying, in latter periods, just like when Alexander came into Egypt, a lot of them savage, barbarian tribes came down into what then was another extension of Ethiopia, okay? Even all the way to India. That was an extension of Ethiopia long before the Indian came up out them goddamn mountains, because that's where they came from. So what am I saying here? The pyramid, even with this date, the pyramids is older than the first king of Sumer, which is the earliest civilization of Mesopotamia. Okay, it's all, and so when you take in consideration that it took over 250,000 years to 500,000 years to develop the knowledge, to create the pyramid, you got to take that 500,000 and add it to the 2550 to give you the true goddamn date. Okay? You don't just put the date in. You looking at these megalithic structures, and you just put 2550 as if that's the amount of time it took to develop the knowledge. You got to also add the amount of years that it would take to develop the knowledge to even build a damn pyramid. And as I said, when you're dealing with super advanced complex structures, you're talking about 50, 60 other advanced sciences that had to come together to even create it. And you think you got to deal with the fact that all of them sciences developed separately and would have taken 50 to 100,000 years in itself to develop the sciences separately, just to bring them together at the time of the pyramid to be able to build that. Okay, and so they still trying to put their first king on the damn throne. And when you think of the 250,000 years to 500,000 years, it would have taken to develop the knowledge, to build a pyramid, to develop the independent sciences, 50, 60, 70 sciences. And here you talking about Ham, who's supposedly the father of African, born 2440 BC. How the fuck is that possible? And they already been developing for 5. So you see that Ham is a created creature that they created to control the narrative of Africa. Shem is a created creature that they created to control the narrative of today, what is called Iraq, Israel, Arabia. You understand what I'm saying? Kush, we use it in a dignified way. There's no way that Kush could have been born in 2342 BC when Kush is the mother of Egypt, and the pyramids is already standing at 2550 BC. BCE. It's impossible for that Cush to be born in the Nubia or Ethiopia as we know it, to be born in 2342. That's impossible. Okay? So let me move over here. Okay, that's unnecessary. Now, you know what? Let me go here. I'm gonna come back to this. Let me go up here. Let me go down. I gotta go here. I don't know where I don't even think I moved them over. That's what I didn't do. That's what I didn't do. I didn't move them over. I should have moved them over, but I did. I'm gonna get my monitor up in a minute so I can see how my family out there doing. Because I'm about to wreck shop today. I'm gonna bring these right on over. Okay, cool. Let me get my monitor up. See how we doing out there. Love y'all out there. Now, a lot of people out there, they don't, they grabbing the wisdom. I see them out there. That's beautiful. Keep grabbing. But when you see, this is a map that I've been using, for a very long time. You understand what I'm saying? And this map is given to us by the Nile Valley Act. You understand? Even when you discuss Egypt and you talk about Lower Egypt, where's Lower Egypt at, family? Do y'all know? I'm gonna give you the answer. Give me, if you don't know, throw it in. I'm gonna give you less than 30 seconds to put it in the chat. Do anybody know, based on this map right here, where Lower Egypt is? You understand? Based on history, if you go to a map right now and you will put Lower Egypt in Google, it'll take you to Lower Egypt. And if or Upper Egypt. See, Upper Egypt is closest to the Sudan. Y'all went too damn long. It's at the top. Lower Egypt is at the bottom. Lower Egypt is by Cairo and Alexandria. That's Lower Egypt. Now, if you flip the map, you wouldn't be able to understand that. You're going to say, how the fuck is that Lower Egypt? You see what I'm saying? But when you study in the history of, even the right here. Oh, it's right here. I got it right here. Even right here. You talking about the gnomes of Africa. You see what I'm saying? You see the gnomes of Africa? You see what number one is at? Where it started at? It started down in the south. Okay? It starts down in the south. And the first gnome, and a gnome is a district or a county. Okay? The first gnome is Tasseti. Okay? Now, I'm using that only in reference to, as we understand Egypt today. You see what I'm saying? I know I get off on the metadata, a lot, but this is only for your understanding. So the first gnome or district is Tasseti. And you can see they counting coming down the river, not up the river. The Nile River flows from south to north. Okay? And so you see number 3 is Nikan. Okay? Nikan is the district where Narmer, the first king of Egypt, came from. One of the first kings. I don't know if he was pre-dynastic, one of the earlier kings or not. You know what I'm saying? But he was one of the earliest of the kings, Narmer. And he came from the 3rd district. Coming down to show you he came from the south. Then you see District 4. You know what I'm saying? The 4th Nome is the district of Almond. Then you see 5. The 5th Nome is the district of Assar. Okay? All the way down to 22 And then when you get to Memphis, see all of that from 1 to 22 is Ethiopia. That was really Ethiopia. Because when you look at it, what was the first capital of Egypt? Memphis. Talk to me. I got to talk to y'all today, family. I want y'all to write this shit down. The first capital of Egypt was Memphis, which is the first district of what later became Lower Egypt. But it couldn't be no damn Egypt until they founded Memphis. So from 22 of upper, what is today known as Upper Egypt, because Egypt would eventually, it would conquer this land, and it would become a complete district of Egypt. But before Nama went down to what today is called Lower Egypt and established Memphis, or was it Mena? I think it was Mena. I don't know if Nama was Mena. I have to do some more research. They might have been two of the earliest kings. You know what I'm saying? But it was Mena who established Memphis. But if there is no Memphis, there is no Egypt, because Memphis is the first capital of Egypt. Okay, so Egypt was technically what today is Lower Egypt, down in the Delta region. Okay, that's Egypt. And everything, going and what is in Lower Egypt was Ethiopia. That's Ethiopia, to show you that. But they're counting from the south down to the north. You understand? When the count is starting in the south. So that's why when we say that this is the proper way of looking at the map, it is based on the African worldview. Okay, based on the African worldview, our people is coming down the river, and this is how the nomes or districts of ancient Egypt and Ethiopia was counted. Now, this is gonna get deep, because even when you look at all the earliest culture in the world, they originate in the South. And I'm going to talk to y'all today. You can see the Africans are sailing down the river, sailing down the ocean, sailing down into the areas that you know of as Mesopotamia, what you know of as the Indus River, the Indus civilization in India. All of them take place in the south of their respective nations, to show you that even when you go into Europe, if you can see down in the Mediterranean, you see the island of Crete right there. As it's coming down the Nile, the last place for it to go is into Egypt. And then as it leaves Egypt, it goes into the islands first. You see what I'm saying? It goes into the island first. And that's why Crete is the oldest, the Minoan civilization is older than the mainland Greece civilization, because the civilization is coming down the Nile. Yes. When you go into so-called Mesopotamia, which is in Iraq, if y'all can look over there, next to Arabia, you see the Persian Gulf. And then right up under Saudi Arabia, you see Iraq. Can I move? I can't move my point on here. Okay? But you can see Saudi Arabia right there in yellow. And you look right up under Saudi Arabia is Iraq. Okay? And that civilization started right there on the Persian Gulf, where the Africans first landed. It's right there. Sumer is right there, right where Kuwait is. If you look at Iraq, right under Saudi Arabia, you'll see a little small tip where it say Kuwait. Kuwait and that Gulf region right there, that's where Sumer started. And then if you go to the Indus Valley civilization, you go right over there to India. It was also part of Pakistan. Pakistan was a part of the Hindu Kush, okay, until the British separated. But that river is actually in Pakistan today. But it still would have been, a part of one region at that time. So if you see that river, you see Karachi. If you look at India and you look to the right of India, you see Pakistan. And if you look right there on what is called today the Arabian Sea, you see that black dot where it say Karachi. Okay, that's where the Indus Valley civilization started, right there. So you can see the Africans are sailing in. Okay, there is no northern civilization that predates these southern civilizations. They all take place in the south. Okay, we lining it up today. Let me keep it moving. So you see, even as you move through this color coded map to show you the variation of the skin tone, as you can see, where it at today is because of the influx, even though it's still dark. You see what I'm saying? All of them civilizations start, and now they're trying to lighten it up there. See how they're trying to put that tan on that the area of Mesopotamia and all, see they lying right there. You know what I'm saying? This is a color variation today, not the ancient world. Because Arabia, Egypt, North Africa, all them been conquered. So it's been some influx up in there. Those are not the original. At the beginning of time, the whole all the way from the top of Africa, all the way across to China, on down to Australia would have been dark. Okay? It would have been dark. Much darker than what it is today. And so we're going to be dealing with, so when we look at the map today, you see what I'm saying? And we see that civilization started at the beginning of the Nile River. And we talking about that Egypt is the last civilization on the Nile River, and that Ethiopia and Sudan and Uganda. See, the thing that y'all got to understand, let me come out for a minute. Let me come out for a minute so I can work with y'all. I want to work with y'all today. You got to understand, agriculture and geology of Africa. You see what I'm saying? And understand the Nile River, and that Egypt was solely dependent on that Nile River for its water and the silk, which is a fertilizer that come up out of them Ethiopian mountains. You see what I'm saying? And, that show you that geologically, and then, when that silk would come down, when it flood every year, the Nile floods. And the majority, it coming out the mountains. Okay, that show you that Ethiopia, the interior of Africa, up the river. Them is the highlands. Them is the holy lands to the Egyptians. They call that the land of the gods. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the pyramids in Egypt, they were, as they saying, heaven on earth. They was recreating the heavens of the south down north. You understand what I'm saying? So the mountains in Ethiopia and in the southern regions of Africa were the pyramids that were built in Egypt. Even when you look at the papyrus columns and you look at the lotus, this is the interior of Africa. You go up, you see the papyrus swamps, you see the lotus and all these, all large growing vegetation in the south, because Egypt is a desert. You know what I'm saying? So they were recreating the south in the north, but they had to do it in stone. You understand what I'm saying? They were recreating the south in stone. But we have to understand that, see, the agriculture, the water itself is what gave life to Egypt. So right there, it shows you geologically that Ethiopia is the mother of ancient Egypt. They could not exist. They got debates right now. You can go online, look it up. I'll get with that later. That'll be another topic that I deal with. Where Ethiopia is talking about building dams right now. Egypt, mad as fuck. Because they know that that's going to cut off the amount of water that's coming into Egypt. So from a geological standpoint, that's military. Hear me out? That's military right there. See, that's serious talk I'm talking. If they wanted to really shut Egypt down, all they had to do was dam that river. It's a wrap. Right there. Right there. That's going to cause a full-blown war. You understand what I'm saying? And that shows you that from a nationalistic standpoint, Egypt couldn't have never truly been at war like many of them people say with Egypt and, you know, with Sudan and Ethiopia. They overblowing, you know, skirmishes between some Nubians, some Egyptians, some, not whole. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's no way you gonna war with them people and they got that much control over your livelihood, your living, you know, your ability to just live. Because if they cut that damn water off on your ass, it's a wrap. They'll kill your agriculture because you're not getting the silk to come down to Egypt. You're not getting the water to come down to Egypt. So that's showing you, you know, that Egypt is the daughter of Sudan and the granddaughter of Ethiopia. And when, you know, you got two, and I just want y'all to understand that. Look at that. Look at that. That one fact alone. How you gonna war with them like that? So they overblowing all that. Everybody got a skirmish. Shit, we war with each other right here on the, that don't mean we don't love one another. You understand what I'm saying? That's how we get down. We have a couple skirmishes, but there's no way that the ancient Egyptians could war with the Nubians, the Ethiopians on any major level with that kind of power in their grasp like that. And so, like I said, if you go right now today and look it up, you will see that, you know, Egypt trying to talk it out. They trying to talk it out with Ethiopia. Ethiopia say, we're going to make sure y'all get, you know, because they scared that if they dam that, because Ethiopia tried to put electricity all through the country. They trying to expand. And if they dam the river, that means less water going to be coming into Egypt. Egypt depends solely on the Nile for its water. Even the damn agriculture. You understand what I'm saying? So that shows you a very serious connection of how that river is one river. And each nation up under it, you got to go to the source. That's the power right there. That's the power right there. You got Lake Tana in Ethiopia. That's the beginning, and I'm going to get back to the map. That's the beginning of the Blue Nile. You got two Nile. You got other rivers, but you got two major branches of the Nile. You got the Blue Nile that starts in Ethiopia, Lake Tana. Then you got the White Nile, which starts in the criminally renamed, Lake Victoria. Now, if you go around, you know, it touches on 5-6 different nations. So each nation got its own name for that. I'm going to get on that. Mm-hmm. But see, I try not to use a name that you don't recognize. You know, I want you to go and look them names up. But if you teach and you can't go and say this name, you know, that might be of African, because if you go to a goddamn map, ain't nobody going to know where the fuck it's at. And so the reason why I say criminally renamed.
Okay, that's enough of that one. Let me see if I can share this. Ooh, I'm going to cut it off. Oh, my God. Let me see if I can go back to my whatchamacallit and get that. And then close it out.
Okay, unless you're going to prove another source of how you got on this planet, which I wish you would do.
Let me share
because
this.
We do not claim you at all. I don't, and don't have to. Some motherfuckers got to find a way, because that crackatosis is running hard in their ass. And so they got to look, oh man, we all come, bitch, shut up. We don't all come from nothing. You understand what I'm saying? That's a wicked goddamn hypothesis created to destroy us. And we got to know that and understand that and move away from them goddamn lies. And so you see here, now, this is a beautiful map. I love this map. It's vivid. I love it. And so you see again, you can see when you talk about the endings. Let me move these up out here. These are the brothers coming across that water with that tray. And just like I said, ain't no Indian Ocean. And I see just recently Africa is talking about renaming the Indian Ocean. How many years I've been already saying this was the Kushite Ocean? How many years? Goddamn, I've been teaching that for over 20. Ain't no goddamn how it's gonna be an Indian when ain't no goddamn Indian. Goddamn, the Africans coming across these waters before Indian even existed. Then you got down here, you got the Arabian Sea, and the goddamn Arab ain't nothing but a landlocked camel herder. Ain't never heard of a goddamn ship until they made up these goddamn lies about a Sinbad. You ain't never heard of no goddamn Arab on no ships. Goddamn it, we put them motherfuckers on the ship. You ever heard of goddamn Muhammad and them fighting on the seas? Them motherfuckers was fighting on the backs of horses and camels. They didn't know nothing about no goddamn boats or none of that. Come on now. And they're gonna name a sea after a landlocked camel herder. Pete. You understand what I'm saying? That just show you that they play. All of this shit got to be renamed. Not only the orientation, but you don't even see and you created it all. You don't even see your name nowhere. You wouldn't even know you had, anything to do with these areas. But we founded the whole of the southern Asian continent is Kushite. It was the original people of the land. It wasn't the Indian, wasn't the Oriental, wasn't no other people in that land but the Kushites. It was as African as goddamn the continent of Africa. And that many areas have been, been wiped out. The conquerors and colonizers that came in, no different than they came in many other lands. In some lands, they were more brutal. They were always brutal, but so brutal till they just wiped out whole populations to where you no longer have, there's no identity that they were even there. You see, but there's still enough Africa there to let you know, and they won't even publicize it. Just very recently, you will see it on TV where you will see some African, they wiping them out. The Andaman Island. It ain't gonna be long. They're gonna wipe that out. Them damn them Indians, they smile in your motherfucking face. They over there, committing genocide, taking over the land. You understand what I'm saying? So it won't be long before they'll have them on a reservation or some shit, and then they'll be extinct. You see what I'm saying? So let me come on down. And so you see, in which I'm gonna blow it up much clearer. So you see right here, when you talk about the Indus is right here in Pakistan now. They separated India. The British separated Pakistan from Greater India. The British did that and gave Pakistan to the Muslims and gave India to the Hindu. But you see right there that this river right here, the Indus River, which I'm going to show y'all pretty much clear, right, is the closest to Africa. Everything is close. You see right here, down here, right there on the Persian Gulf, right there, Kuwait, southern Iraq is where Sumer was. All of it is in the south. You understand? Very close to the what they call the Arabian Sea, which is nearest to Africa. You see what I'm saying? That the Africans are sailing down into these areas, and because they've got so many river systems that they have already built up in Africa, they go into areas, that's very similar to the area where they come from, and they go, right to work, building up a colony, and then, expand, because once you built up to the point where you got, you got so much wisdom and knowledge, you got so much export, you know what I'm saying? Then you go to other areas, people expand because it could get crowded. You understand, in certain areas. So they'll move over and they still connected. But yet they still connected. Now, let me come on just to prove what I'm saying. That's a lot of goddamn maps, y'all. There's a lot of goddamn maps. Let's go to southern Mesopotamia. Let me put this in here. So you see here, now, even in the Bible, I always bring it up because they lied too soon, and they put some of that shit in there they shouldn't have put in there, and they wish they could. That's why they revising that motherfucker, taking all that shit out of there. Now, we talking about Nimrod, who was supposedly the father. Now we know, goddammit, that ain't no Nimrod. This is just another creation to hide the fact that the Africans was responsible for creating this goddamn civilization. The only reason they created a Nimrod or a Cush or any of that shit to say they come from a goddamn Semitic father, controlling the narrative. So we know that, but what they did say, which they wish they shouldn't have said, but it was so evident at that time that, they said it, it was that Nimrod, who was the founder of Mesopotamia, was the son of Cush. Now today they want to say, well, it did see Cush, and then if you go in the King James Bible, it says Ethiopia, which means burnt face. So if your goddamn daddy burnt face, you already know what you look like, unless you're albino, but you're still African. You see what I'm saying? And it says, okay, this is Genesis, if I'm not mistaken, 10. I ain't gonna go to the top. You can look it up yourself because it ain't so important right now. And Cush begot Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. Okay? He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. Now listen, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel and Erech, Akkad, Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Now Shinar is Sumer. You see what it is purple. So this is the beginning. And then it says, out of that land, Sumer, out of that land went forth Assyria, which in Nineveh, in the city of Rehoboth and Kala and Reason, which between Nineveh and Calneh, the same as a great city. So Assyria and what we call Nineveh, which was in the north, came up out of Sumer. So the civilization is moving from the south to the north. Okay? It's moving from the south to the north. Now, this is no land down here that's going to originate no people. This is still it is some greenery down there, but it's not like the Nile. They don't have no stone. They don't really have the type of precious resources that the Africans had. So, and I have never heard no academia nowhere say that man originated here. Only the fucking Bible say that shit. So you see right there, it's coming. So that goes back to what I'm saying is that's right here to modern day Kuwait, southern Iraq, that the Africans is sailing in. And wherever they land, that's where they set up at. When you go to the United States, you understand what I'm saying? The first place that they landed, the European, was on the East Coast. And that's where you find the original 13 colonies. Now, we know that the Africans was here. We just showing you that usually when the people land, that's where they're going to set up home base at. You understand what I'm saying? So the civilization of Mesopotamia moved from the south to the north. You see what I'm saying? So you can see right here from this map. Very good map. You see right here in that area you see the greenery. You understand? From Oman down and up to what you call Iraq. You understand? This is where you have Elam. This is where you have Sumer. You understand? This is where they said, and then the Indus River. So as they come from Africa, they go into the Indus River. You understand? And we ain't even talking about Dwarka, which was a city that was said to be built by Krishna, one of the Black Christs of India, which is nothing but Osiris, is right here. I moved the star. You know, that was darker. They said, you know, it went up under the earth, under the water. You understand what I'm saying? But even that, you know what I'm saying? Even that Christ figure, his city was on the side, the Indus Valley, closest to Africa. So all of these, you can see the Africans are settling down, coming into these areas, and this is where they originate, in the South. Okay, so I don't want to hear nothing about no motherfucking hell. Noah landed no goddamn ark in no goddamn mountains and shit, and came all the way down here to build a civilization, and he ain't set up no cities along the way. He come from way up out these mountains. I got the shit. I don't need to go over this shit. This is Elam, which was another in Persia. You see Persepolis, and where you look on the movie 300 and you see the immortal, that was the nappy-headed brothers on the walls over there, coming straight from the Nile Valley. Okay, coming straight from the Nile Valley. I don't want to jump the creek yet. I just wanted to see if I got that damn map where they dealing with. Here you go. Here you go. This one of them. This one of them. But matter of fact, I'll leave that down here because as I deal with Sumeria, you got Arabia Felix. Okay, a lot of people don't know about that. Now, Arabia Felix was the southern portion of Arabia, which is termed Happy Arabia. Okay, this was the best part, and even the Arabs, with their thieving asses, claimed that most of the, even Muhammad's tribe, the Quraysh, came from Arabia Felix. Okay, that's that southern portion, which was nothing more than an extension of the Aksumite Ethiopian Empire. Okay, so even in not only the Persian go over here, matter of fact, let me get that started. Let me copy that. So not only do you got the southern origins of the Mesopotamian, you got the southern origins of the so-called Arabian. So as you coming across, it's all in the south. So you see how they going. You see what I'm saying? They mastered it, and then they went on over there to the Indus Kush, which is right there. So you see how they develop in this area. It's coming from the south. You ain't got no input from the north. This shit is at the bottom. You see what I'm saying? This shit is at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? And so the African ain't even though they will get in those areas. You understand what I'm saying? They are going to push past these areas. You understand what I'm saying? But when it started getting so far to where niggas started going towards Russia and shit, niggas did turned the fuck around like, this is as far as we need to go. You see what I'm saying? And so you see right here, Arabia Felix. Let me come on down. Now, this is what they teaching in the goddamn Bible. They teaching that. See, this is how you add on to some shit and try to change some shit. You see what I'm saying? They saying that this triangle is Mount Ararat. I smell a rat. You know, that's Mount Ararat. I think I smell a rat. You understand? Or Mount Arad, whatever one they want to call it. You understand? The rest of the place is Noah Ark. And so from there, Noah, his three sons, and their three wives and his wife, which is 8 people, they come off the goddamn boat. And I don't know how the fuck they had enough time to fuck and come up with enough people to build a goddamn ziggurat in goddamn the Tower of Babel. Goddamn. If you come off the goddamn boat, wait a minute, let me talk to motherfucker. If you come off the boat with 8 people, because that's what he said, come up off the goddamn boat. 8 goddamn people. You hear me? 8 goddamn damn people. And do you know how fucking long it would take to repopulate the motherfucking earth to even build a goddamn ziggurat? So you gonna land up in the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, because a lot of people don't know that Mount Ararat is in the lower Caucasus Mountains. You understand what I'm saying? I got something coming up. You know, I think I'm gonna have to put that motherfucker on GeneralSeti.com. The origins of the Uralian monkey. You understand? Remember who dropped that? Because I'm always dropping shit. Because a lot of people call them Caucasian. They're not Caucasian. I say they come back from further than the Caucasus Mountains. They come from past the Ural Mountains in Russia. So I call them the Uralian monkeys. Okay, you better keep up with me now. I ain't got long to fuck with you now. You got to get this shit. You know what I'm saying? The Uralian monkey. And so you see right there. Now, you gonna land your ship, your little ark. You ain't never heard of Hebrew. All the 99.9% of was pushing goats through the desert and never heard of a ship. I ain't heard one of them in a ship. Maybe in the New Testament, Jonah's ass got ate by the whale, so whatever little ship he was on, that shit didn't count. So maybe Jonah and Noah, the only motherfuckers that they got, you know, he wasn't on no ship. That motherfucker was on a little raft or something. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and then you tell me that this motherfucker landed a ark in the mountains, and he, listen, look at this. And so he gonna come down, let me take that out. He gonna come down all the way from out the mountain. Don't leave no civilization in the middle. Then started civilization deep in the south. No evidence of culture in between the mountains and the land of Shinar. Gonna start there. You understand what I'm saying? Gonna start there with 8 people. With 8 people. You understand what I'm saying? And build that civilization. And from there, in matter of fact, I don't know if the other brothers went to down there or they went on into Africa, but it says, I guess so, because it's saying that they left. And they left Shinar, and then Ham went into Africa, Japheth went into Europe, and Shem Jotab went into Asia. Okay? And so I get that's their way of trying to say that Mesopotamia started Africa, which is a bunch of bullshit. Because when you see that it's coming from the south, you understand, and all evidence shows, you understand, based on human activity, that is in the south of goddamn Africa, you could kill that goddamn north. You understand what I'm saying? So we see not only we showing that at Arabia Felix, what some people call Sheba, Saba, you understand, the Sabaeans, you understand what I'm saying? We also talking about the Mesopotamians, the Sumerians, the Elamites, and you see right here, these mountains is a natural barrier that separates. This is really Africa. When you're talking about Africans dominated this area. Like I say, the African populated all of South Asia before any people, tens of thousands of years. I'm getting on that migration shit tomorrow. I'm cracking you niggas' head. Because that shit heavily tied to that sick damn.
Okay. Now I'm going to share a little Merkaba and what he has to say about the region. Then afterwards, we'll close out. Okay. Do I want to make it go back a little? Probably so.
You have the Aryans coming down. You have white people coming down. And they're coming into different civilizations in Africa and learning. They're coming and learning.
Hold on, let me
not
put
coming to
something.
Kemet and simply use the Greeks to conquer the Egyptians, because they were learning from the Egyptians. They were coming in there, and the people loved the Egyptians. So what they would do is a series of breeding. So They would go north of Greece and breed to create the Macedonians. They will also go over to what we know as Iraq and create the Persian Empire. So, talked about before, you have the Aryans. The Aryans coming down from the north. Now, the Aryans would mix in with the people of the Indus Valley and the people in India. They would mix in with those people and create the Persian people. This is where they come from. So you also have to understand that the Indus Valley were basically people, Africans coming from Ethiopia mostly, and traveling over to India. They would become the Indus Valley civilization. They would also become, the people of India. So you had this mixing of the Aryans coming down, mixing in with the Indus Valley, mixing in with Ethiopians, mixing in with Indians. And you have this mixture. These are the Persian people. Once they all come together, they all mix it together. This was deliberately done, and that empire was deliberately created and established to later conquer so that people could not see the true plans of the Aryans. So picture this. Just think about it. You have the Aryans coming down. You have white people coming down. And they're coming into different civilizations in Africa and learning. They're coming in and learning. The people that was traveling with them, the other white people that were just regular people, whether they knew or not the true agenda of the hierarchy, we don't know. But the true agenda was eventually to take these lands, to learn from these people and take their shit, plain and simple. So you can't just have different skirmishes. You can't have, the Aryans coming into one part, conquering and taking over, coming into this part, conquering and taking over. The word would get out. So what they would do was mix in, play a nice role, and eventually take the throne, eventually conquer from within. That was their MO. That's how they did their thing. So something on the scale of what they were planning could not get out. So they bred these people and they built the empire. And eventually, the Greeks would get them the keys to the back door for Egypt, and they would come into Egypt, conquer the Egyptians, and the Greeks would basically take over later from the Persians. So the whole story we have of Alexander and everything and the wars and all that, we do not know is true. We can't really prove much of it. We don't know exactly what happened. But we can see through history that the Persians, yes, conquered the Egyptians. The Greeks conquered the Persians and took the Egyptian empire, which, as I said, the Greeks was living with the Egyptians. So once you took back the Egyptian empire, why not then give it back to its rightful people, the Egyptians? Which shows you their plan all along, the Greeks, was to take that land. And they bred the Persians to do exactly that for them. So same thing you had in the Macedonians. You have already the Minoans, which are the original Black Greeks, being conquered by these Aryans coming down from the north. And they would basically breed and slowly take over the Minoans. Now, the mindset of people back then was not black-white. They understood who these people were. So we can't just say this and that. But that's essentially what it was. The whites conquering all the dark-skinned land. Mm-hmm. So you have the Minoans eventually, being slowly conquered. And when they talk about in history, the wars between the Athenians and the Spartans, look at all this Greek history and a civil war between the Greeks. That's bullshit. That's a lie to cover up what it really was. It was the white Greeks versus the black Greeks, plain and simple, taking over. Again, there's no way in the world that you have the Greeks doing everything they're doing as far as the Athenians being so, intelligent and having society and so on and so forth. There's no way they could not know up north the Macedonians had amassed an entire empire and kingdom that was basically coming to rival them and take their shit. So it's basically what happened. It's the same thing with the Persians. There's no way in the world nobody could have seen or couldn't have seen the Persian Empire growing as big as it grown and not, say something about it. So the Greeks knew exactly what they was doing.
All right, family. I hope that was clarified for you. That the whole thing is they pretty much are our shadow on the earth. And Like you said, this is their MO, taking over everything that we have created to the point where now they are rulers in the earth. The wicked rules over the earth. So, family, we've looked over Genesis and we saw in the beginning 2 distinctive people of a conscious, a particular conscious. We of the mind of free, they're of the mind of keeping things in a box. This is just their conscious speaking to them. Don't think that there is a God. It's their conscious. It's what they are born with. It's the thinking that they are born with naturally in their DNA. And it's 2 different manners of men. The first creation was the black people, us. The second creation, Adam and Eve, the white man. So with that said, family, I left some resources for you. Hopefully you got the video. So I'm going to probably do a part 3 and finish out some of what he was saying, Merkaba, because it was quite interesting. And then with some other stuff next week. So with that said, true love, real peace, and the higher self within the soul. Till next time. Thank you all for being here. Vincent, Maad, Ray, thank you. President George Jefferson, thank you. And thank you, people in the clouds. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Thank you. Peace, and have a great night.